Ulysses S. Grant, the 18th President of the United States, is best remembered for his leadership during the Civil War and his two-term presidency that followed. Born on April 27, 1822, in Point Pleasant, Ohio, Grant grew up in a modest middle-class family. His given name was Hiram Ulysses Grant, but due to a clerical error when he entered West Point, he became Ulysses S. Grant, a name he retained throughout his life. Grant's early years were not particularly remarkable, and he struggled to find his career path. Despite showing an aptitude for math, he attended the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1839, where he graduated in 1843. His time at West Point was marked by mediocrity in academics, but his understanding of horses and horsemanship set him apart from his peers. After graduation, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army, and he served in the Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848, under General Zachary Taylor. Grant proved his courage and leadership in several battles during the conflict, but after the war he faced personal struggles, including bouts of depression and financial difficulties, and he resigned from the Army in 1854. After leaving the Army, Grant worked in various jobs, including as a farmer, a real estate agent, and a clerk. He faced continued hardships and was often unsuccessful in civilian life. In 1861, with the outbreak of the Civil War, Grant rejoined the military, offering his services to the Union Army. At the time, he was virtually unknown, but his leadership skills quickly became evident. He was promoted to brigadier general, and his aggressive tactics and focus on total war made him a rising star in the Union military. Grant's success as a commander during the Civil War was pivotal. His breakthrough came in 1862 with the capture of Fort Donelson in Tennessee, where he earned the nickname Unconditional Surrender Grant for his demand that the fort's defenders surrender without conditions. This victory helped cement his reputation as a determined and unrelenting leader. His success continued with the Battle of Shiloh, 1862, though it was costly in terms of casualties, demonstrating both his resolve and the high price of war. In 1863, Grant achieved one of his most significant victories by capturing Vicksburg, Mississippi, after a lengthy siege. This victory gave the Union control of the Mississippi River and split the Confederacy in two. By 1864, Grant was appointed General-in-Chief of all Union armies by President Abraham Lincoln, a position that allowed him to direct major campaigns. Grant's strategy of coordinated attacks on multiple fronts, combined with his persistence, wore down the Confederate forces, leading to a series of Union victories. Grant's relentless pursuit of Confederate General Robert E. Lee in Virginia culminated in the surrender of Lee at Appomattox Courthouse on April 9, 1865. This moment effectively marked the end of the Civil War. Grant's terms of surrender were generous, offering Confederate soldiers parole and allowing them to return home, which helped foster post-war reconciliation. Following the Civil War, Grant became a national hero. His military success and leadership earned him widespread admiration, and in 1868 he was elected President of the United States as a Republican. Grant's first term, 1869 to 1873, focused on Reconstruction, the effort to rebuild the South and integrate the former Confederate states back into the Union. He supported civil rights for African Americans and worked to enforce the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which abolished slavery and granted citizenship and voting rights to African Americans. However, Grant's presidency was marred by political corruption. Several of his appointees and allies were involved in scandals such as the Credit Mobilier scandal and the whiskey ring, which tarnished his administration. Despite this, Grant himself was not directly implicated, and he remained personally honest. His efforts to curb corruption and improve the civil service were often stymied by a political system dominated by patronage. Grant was re-elected in 1872, but his second term, 1873 to 1877, was less successful. The economy entered a depression following the Panic of 1873, and his administration struggled to address the challenges of Reconstruction. While Grant continued to support civil rights, the political will to enforce these rights weakened in the South, and white supremacist groups like the Ku Klux Klan gained power. In his final years in office, Grant sought to maintain federal control over the South but faced diminishing returns. After leaving the presidency, Grant remained active in public life, traveling abroad and writing his memoirs. His financial situation became precarious due to poor investments, and in 1884 he was nearly bankrupt. In a remarkable act of personal resilience, Grant began writing his memoirs in the face of financial ruin. The two-volume personal memoirs of Ulysses S. Grant, published in 1885, became a literary and historical classic, praised for its honest and insightful account of the Civil War. Grant's health deteriorated, and he was diagnosed with throat cancer in 1884. He continued to write despite his illness and passed away on July 23, 1885, at the age of 63. His memoirs were financially successful and provided his family with much-needed support. Ulysses S. Grant's legacy is complex. As a general, he is widely regarded as one of the greatest military leaders in American history. His strategies and unyielding determination led to the defeat of the Confederacy and preserved the Union. As president, his efforts in Reconstruction and civil rights were significant, though his administration's scandals overshadowed much of his accomplishments. In the years following his death, Grant's reputation has undergone a re-evaluation. His military brilliance has been increasingly recognized, and his contributions to civil rights and the preservation of the Union remain pivotal to understanding the post-Civil War period. Today, Grant is remembered both for his decisive role in the Civil War and for his complicated presidential legacy, which continues to spark debate. His life story, from military obscurity to national hero and president, remains a testament to his resilience and commitment to the Union.